Welcome to D&D After Dark. My name is Wall, and we're here to talk up the good, the bad, and the ugly from today's game as we get all nostalgic. What did I do? It's not my fault. Speaking in the background, we have Nick Chaos Actual Cole.
Yo, I'm here.
And above him, rocking the equally cool avatar, we have J.R. Hanley.
Hey.
Going counterclockwise, we have CJ Correa.
Game over, man. Game over.
Fantastic. Wilbur Aloysius Kuchenmeyer, also known as Michael Rothman.
Hola todos. Hello.
And then we have J Mac playing Mr. Crowley.
How's it going?
Right on. Yeah, we caught you this time. We got like a full house today.
Yeah. It's nice.
So, speaking of full house, what did you guys think at the start of the game? How did we pick up?
I liked it. I thought it was a good way to incorporate everyone back in. So sometimes you got people who can't make it. Life happens. I get that. But I've always thought you did a good job of making that fit the narrative. Like the whole dysentery angle was hilarious.
Well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Everybody's talking about the newly promoted Master Sergeant Crowley.
And the new fuzzy.
Yeah, and the new fuzzy. Hey, Sinokin, what's going on, man? So we got we had a lot of twists and turns today. The one thing I totally did not catch, right? Because I usually have like a base outline when I'm doing an adventure. So like if you guys go off the rail, no big deal. But if you stay on the rail, there's plenty of story to involve. That witch lady at the end, I did not see you putting a bullet straight through her like that quick.
Yeah. So what story did we miss out of her if we had talked to her?
Much like so you guys had encountered last session the Raiders, and basically they were hired to come in here and destabilize this trade route, and so the Rangers were having trouble fielding a team down there because of the fact that Dawson was a werewolf, and they weren't quite sure whether or not his clan were all wolves as well. So they were like, you guys still have a lot of work and gear, and we have bullets. We just don't have the tech to run it. You go down, you take care of it, and then we'll back you guys up with some gear and stuff like that. And there seems to be a lot of interest from their company commander in recovering your forge. But that being the case, you had encountered early on that this force was mostly like guys who were hired and mercenary forces, even though they were working for Dawson. But so the whole thing with her is then you encounter the guys on the ship, and they're like, yo, we're just driving, dude. We're just here to drive, and that's the thing with even though they said that the first mate was like, the leader's downstairs. She was ready to deal with you. She was like, you guys have proven your strength. You took Dawson out. Let me help you and see what you can do here. Because this T guy is paying me pennies for me to sweat pounds, and you guys look a little more interesting than he is right now. So yeah, she was probably going to work for you.
So she was a friendly.
She wasn't friendly, right? So she was.
She could have been an asset. She could have been an asset.
Right.
I can't help but think it was partially my fault.
How's that?
Since my first words were a light crap.
I mean, it was Captain Rock Powers that gave the order.
Yeah. But I think it was Fuzzy Benny that kind of led us down the okay. Let's kill everything.
He wanted to kill this freaking first mate. I'm like, no.
He almost killed me. If I didn't have a saving throw, that frag grenade would have killed me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never thought I'd get fragged as an Air Force lieutenant.
Give
So
it a
I thought that was
PL
more of an
preview.
Air thing, but
Last week you were talking about James killing everybody, and I just assumed that was him being a DM. So I thought I was safe because I'm like, oh, he's just gonna play, a character, and then immediately it's like I'm under attack from James.
This is worse than a suicidal, brethren. This is one who's like psychotic.
yeah, he's role-playing somebody who's having a psychotic break really well.
Yeah.
I thought that was hysterical when you went up to Nick and you were like, "Yeah, he's having a psychotic break. We got to take everything away from him." Oh my god. Sparky6868 saying, "I'm just glad Booger wasn't completely barbecued."
It was close though.
Aloysius, you are a fan favorite, Aloysius.
All right.
Sinokin saying he is crazy, and I like it.
So points for James.
Yeah. So some of the dialogue cues that you guys missed by putting a bullet in her and then stomping on her skull. I am worth more to you on this side of the dirt because there I feed only the worms, but here I feed you power. She can say stuff like that. And then when you ask her what she wants to be paid, she says, my most prized gift, my most prized possession is to watch the ruin reveal. And what is ruin if not the end of a beginning? If a pretty white dress is splashed in the mud, does it lose its beauty? No, it now has character and a story. It's been in the world and knows how to act with the world. Let me walk beside you as your old self is ruined so that what you may be is revealed. So, that kind of stuff is some of the stuff that you miss by, shooting her.
So speaking of James, was he right that we need to go around cutting all those heads off all the time?
No. So
He's just crazy.
He just likes to cut the heads off. Yeah.
he's acting on like paranoid player syndrome. It's gonna come back if we don't cut off the head. So like vampires, you got to cut off the head if you're gonna put them down for good. But
I didn't think you needed to do that with a lycanthrope. I mean, I think if you killed him and he turned back, he turned back.
He's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, some of the going up to the first mate and being like, this is how we're using your men, just like and when you guys first got there, you're like, yeah, we're taking his wagon. So, what?
Yeah, that's not how you you win hearts and minds.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like when we were playing Crimson Hawk with him. He would take anything that we did and sort of use it against us. Like if I used poison, to kill a monster, he would say, "Oh, now everybody in Crimson Hawk will have nothing to do with you." He made it clear, like if there's any infraction he could use against you, he would do it. But then when he plays like absolutely psychotic, and then sits there and says like, oh, why are people not reacting well to me? And I'm like, because you're just being nuts,
serial killer.
If this is really how he played in Guy Jackson's, there's no freaking way he only died twice. There's no way.
Well, does it count as a death if you get brought back? Because then maybe.
I guess maybe.
I also buy it because if you kill off everyone else, right? So he's just going to be the highest level guy in his party all the time because everyone keeps having to re-roll new characters.
Well, I mean, I think when people play games, like, they're, whether they like it or not, they're working out some psychology in their life. We were all supposed to originally play games when we were kids and kind of imagine what you wanted to be. And I think, as you get to be an older person and you play games, at our level, like, you're still kind of like enjoying the fantasy of maybe being a different person than you turned out to be. James, I can't figure out. Like it's your problem. Like you're just the most nihilistic person I've met. So it's a little nuts, man.
So what did you guys think when you guys rolled down below and found that that exit to the ship?
So I actually thought when the ground was changing that it wasn't that there was that exit. I thought like maybe Espinosa was getting heavier because like he was becoming a dwarf or something. I was ready for him to change. I thought that was I'm like, okay, this is it.
Or the castle was alive or something, and as soon as you poked it, something bad was really going to happen. But yeah,
Right. Yeah, but then you guys exited into that huge cavern. And then, of course, you had you had those raiders come up and start messing with you. Captain Kilgosha, I love the demotion. It was the best part of the stream.
Yeah.
I want the line about we're 100% chance of pirating. That's got to be in the next book. Some of the shit he says on the fly is freaking hilarious.
So one question: what was she as a D&D equivalent? I mean, I'm just trying to think. What class, creature, or otherwise was she?
You're talking about the witch at the end?
Yeah.
So, where is it? Dragon Magazine.
Number 2, Best of Dragon number 2 is the witch.
Yeah. And it's Dragon Magazine number 114 was the 3rd revision of the witch for AD&D, and that's what she was. She was a witch.
Okay.
Yeah. So she had some crazy spells. She had the ability to heal and make potions.
She probably should have used that.
So how does the magic for a witch different than say a wizard, a mage, all that?
Like wizards and mages are more active in how they employ their magic. And you killed her. So wizards and mages, illusionists, they're all very active in their magic. Wave your fingers, crush some Eye of Newt together, and then spit on it, and suddenly you have like spider web or something like that. Whereas the witches, they're James, it looks like he's trying to connect.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So she had little totems and stuff. So.
Yeah. So the totems and stuff. Hi, James.
Hello.
I can't believe you're awake.
Yeah, well, don't tell my wife I'm here.
They like how you played today, James. They said you pulled off crazy very well.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I am the model of a modern military personnel.
In Leavenworth.
I've seen Clint Eastwood movies. I know how this works.
But yeah, so that
that also needs to go in a book.
Yes. That woman at the end, she was so she was straight out of those old issues, and she's going to be very ritualistic in how she approached everything. But which is the totems. The totems each had the ability to grant her abilities and stuff like that, and that goes back to some of those old Dragon magazines.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether those totems are going to be useful for something or
I was going to say, if someone wanted to become a warlock, they could use those totems, right?
Absolutely. You just got to figure out what they're for.
Right.
So you'd have to find somebody who can show it. Who can show you.
Oh, we got interesting toys to play with in the future. Maybe.
I just want someone to show me how to have my hand back.
Yeah, she could have fixed that, but
all you have to do is drink that yellow potion, dude.
I think it was are you going to tell us what the potions are, or is that
well, you know what the red ones were.
Yeah, the red ones are gone too. So
and the red ones are feel good potions. I'm assuming standard healing, or
they're healing potions. Yeah. So now
I
you
like
have the green one and yellow one.
I like how you describe that.
What's that?
The way the healing worked, instead of just like, oh, you got X points back. It was, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, the arrow disintegrating and stuff like that.
Yeah, like forced itself out. That was cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. Everybody was like, I got a message later and they were like, really? Kids medication? I'm like, what do you think healing potions taste like? I'm thinking it tastes like medicine.
There we
Your
go.
medicine never tastes good.
I think
Yeah,
healing potions taste like Pop Rocks and Coke.
Yes.
So your 20s.
See, I hadn't thought of Dimetap and that grape flavor in ages. So yeah, it's like, I'm like, okay, all right. That sets off a visual or some mental memory.
Right, because you always had that taste in you.
Yeah.
I mean, like even if you're talking to one of your contemporaries now, and everybody's like, yeah, my kid's sick, so I got to go pick up some Dimetap at the store. You immediately had that grape taste in the back of your mouth. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I figured,
I remember when I discovered NyQuil in high school, and it was like, like the first 8 nights, you're like, well, I need a shot of NyQuil, Mom. And then the 9th night, you're just phoning it in. You're like, nah, it's the end of the night. I need to wrap this up with a little NyQuil spooker.
The Robo Rush.
Oh my God. Are you drunk? No, I have a cold.
I always thought NyQuil, for me being kind of a Star Trek nerd, I always thought NyQuil was Romulan ale.
You always thought it was what?
Romulan ale.
Romulan ale, because it had the same green color and everything like that.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is, I'm a lightweight when it comes to alcohol. So for the most part, I can actually take a shot or two, and then it really does help me just go to sleep. I'm done. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Right on. Yeah. So
I used to drink 22 beers a day.
22.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
22 Coors Lights. I could kill that.
Oh, that's not real beer.
Yeah, no, that's just fishing beer.
It's like water.
You're drunk when you hit beer 22. You're
Wow.
like, and I'm drunk now. But I could go out to the clubs and kill 11 pitchers of beer and still PT in the morning.
Oh yeah. You always had that one guy. When I got to the 82nd Airborne, I was utterly shocked at the ability of those guys to swallow mass quantities of alcohol and then function, much less, coordinated.
That's the thing that always. I mean, my only exposure to someone who was truly like a hardcore alcoholic or or was one was I remember I was working with this one lady. So I was still in college working some summer job or something, and I met some lady, and she, it doesn't matter what she was doing, but she was like a telemarketing or whatever, but she was totally straight by then, but she's like this really tiny thing of like $1.05, and she told me that at her worst, when she was rip roaringest, just before she stopped cold turkey, she could finish off a fifth of some of the really tough and horrible stuff, and actually go to sleep no problem, and wake up the next morning, and just have some water, and she'd be actually okay. And I'm just like, someone who's one, I could never, in my worst nightmare, is finishing off a fifth of anything 80 proof or greater, was no, it's not going to happen. I'd be passed out before that. But so someone who is 100 pounds, no freaking way. I was just like, that's amazing. Yeah, I don't get it.
Years of dedication and hard work.
Oh no, yeah, it's clear. I mean, I totally believed her. It was just it's like wow.
Sparky 6868 saying you guys should hear my dad talk about Vietnam. He was a door gunner in an assault helicopter. So much beer everywhere. Yeah, nowadays
Vietnam was all about drinking.
It's got to be tough in
and
Saudi.
other things.
It's got to be tough in Saudi.
Yeah. The what do you call it? Everybody would sneak stuff in. They would have these weird high end water bottles. Only they were all filled with grain alcohol, vodka, stuff like that. And it was that's how they were shipping it in. And
mouthwash bottles.
Yeah, sometimes. But we, one of our guys owned a liquor store back home, and for our class 1, we could only get meat and frozen pizzas. And it's dude, we're gonna get scurvy in a month. You're killing us. And it was well, you can always buy off the economy. I'm like, why do I have to spend money on the economy when you guys are supposed to be providing food? So we shipped in some we shipped it. We knew he liked certain brands of tequila, so we managed to ship it in. And we went to the Marine Corps instead, and we were like, "Hey, we heard you like tequila. You know what we really like? Lettuce, peppers, stuff
Oranges.
like that.
Yeah.
Oranges."
Wow.
So yeah, we traded some good stuff for like crates of fruits and vegetables. It was awesome.
And where were you when this happened?
I was in Ramadi.
Mars.
Yeah, Mars.
It's on Mars, but don't say anything.
The Italian base, you could get some good stuff, and they had some good wines too.
They would always come over to Camp Victory when we were there, and you'd have to talk to the Carbonari, and those guys were they were stiff. All set with that. You know, they just like to stand there and complain in Italian, and I'm just like, guys, can you knock it off? Not, everybody is totally dumb to what you're saying. So
I didn't have a clue what they were saying. As long as we were able to trade, I was happy.
I had Royal Marines rations once. They were
did you?
Yeah.
What were those like?
Well, you got a lot of tea.
Great.
I was okay with that.
Oh my god! So, how did you guys think the fight in the cave went?
So a
yeah,
little
there
too
was
much flames.
There was a lot of
Yeah.
fire.
It was kind of toasty.
Yeah.
I was feeling the heat.
We didn't take much damage, so that's usually pretty good.
You
It
didn't.
was all focused on me.
Poor Aloysius. His clothes, they're gone.
Book on fire.
Did we miss treasures that were hiding in the crevices?
No, there wasn't any treasure in there.
Okay.
They mostly use it as a boat launch.
What,
All right.
what happened to those guys that went into the dark hole?
You don't know? Yeah, you didn't see them. So
All right.
either the earth swallowed them
They're
up,
gay.
or
Yeah.
they're what?
They're
They're
gay.
gay now.
Oh, that's awesome. What did you when you guys saw those guys climbing up the rock? What did you think? Did you you guys had a notion that they were coming though?
Well, I heard the whispers, so yeah.
I just mostly stood there uselessly with one arm.
You might want to get that fixed.
You killed a dude.
Yeah, but I rolled like 4 natural ones today.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
There were a lot of ones today.
Yeah.
My ARCOM report says that I really directed fire and rallied the troops to engage the enemy in CQB and displayed extraordinary leadership. So it's a pretty good battle
Does
for
it
me.
say anything about illegally demoting a veteran soldier in the middle of a battle?
I don't think you understand illegally.
Oh no, I'm very clear about that.
No, you should be at Charlie's Chicken Farm. Like, you should be like in a UN war criminal tribunal. Like you're like a murderous psychopath.
Uh,
A grenade in a closed environment was not a good idea.
You know,
I was waiting for a cave-in.
I absolutely have to talk to Walt about that off camera. I still think I shouldn't have taken one little bit of damage.
So a grenade in a confined space has especially something like treated timbers that contain a lot of the blast. You're talking about levels of overpressure that are
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you on the overpressure, but it comes out of a wave from the grenade explosion site. So I would think all of the overpressure would hit our buddy that I was behind.
No, that's not how overpressure works, actually. Overpressure actually bounces off the walls. So anything behind us, you would have been just as toast as anybody else. So realistically, we should all be deaf. So we should
bleeding out the ears and nose.
Yeah, we should have been.
Are you seeing the comments? So we got Captain Kilgosha. His prediction: Biddy kills the captain and takes command. And then Sparky 6868 can't be no war crimes without no war crime courts left.
That was actually one of the things I was thinking about. Is who the hell is going to prosecute us for the war crimes? I'm just like,
Yeah.
The orcs.
What
Besides-
happened to Geneva?
Yeah.
Battle candy.
Yeah, really.
Oh my god.
Besides, the sergeant is a Democrat, so he'll never go to trial for anything.
Someone got saucy.
And I will say, all the shrapnel will pretty much go through anything fleshy.
Oh wait, I gotta
you
correct
know.
James real quick. You mean the private? The private.
Well, this is the Air Force, so he's an airman.
Oh, that's right. You're an airman now. That means
Yeah.
you are like an E1 now.
So is the Air Force, have fuzzies as well? I know in the Army you don't get nothing on an E1. So
No, you don't get it in any
No.
branch, I don't think.
You gotta
Okay.
get your mosquito wings at E2.
all right.
Well, you're inverted because the Air Force has that weird jacked up looking rank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to Josh Hayes the other day, and he was asking me about Army ranks, and he's like, "Dude, I don't understand your ranks." I'm like, "Look, sergeant is 3 stripes. Everything is either a variation up or down of that." I said, "You guys," you guys were playing tic-tac-toe when you were designing ranks. There's like 19 stripes, 4 diamonds, 3 stars, and a clover. You dumped a Lucky Charms box on a Sudoku board, and that was your rank structure. He was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Wow.
The only thing more arcane is the Navy.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah.
And because you can't just call somebody like seaman. Well, you can, but it really depends on on the context. But like a lot of times you're referred to by your rate, which is like your MOS and your rank at the same, which is kind of like a weird mix of that. So like, I mean, I remember the first time I got hurt and I was being treated by Navy personnel. And they're like, they called this dude, they called him HMS1. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I'm like,
Her Majesty's ship.
yeah, right?
Really.
And then this guy was a corpsman, and this guy was a corpsman, but this guy was HMS. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? And he's like, and one guy was like, well, corpsman is just our rate. He's like, because we work with Marines, everybody just, corpsman 1 and corpsman 2. So they'll say corpsman and then your name. And he's like, and this guy is a hospitaler medical service technician. He mostly serves in a like a hospital, so they'll probably just call him HMS in his rank. And I'm like, oh, why not just like sergeant or
really
sea sergeant? And he goes, no, that's a petty officer. And I'm like, that's kind of insulting.
He's a petty officer. Aren't they all?
Right? Oh my god!
All I know is you gotta watch out for the guy whose rank is like Corpsman Butchester. That's the one.
The officer ranks always made much more sense to me. I got always very confused about which sergeant is what and all the other stuff. I'm just like.
Yeah, Sinokin was saying aviation electronics technician for him, so he was an AT3, and then you would yell out Sinokin afterwards.
I like AT4s better.
Well, don't we all? But you don't get access to it.
That's because you're a commie lover, like Swedish arms.
Oh my god! I was talking to a buddy of mine who's he's a MARSOC Marine. And he was telling me that they still use the law rocket for wall breaching. I'm like, that is awesome. He goes, yeah, because it doesn't do dick against a tank, so we might as well use it against, Adobe huts. I was like,
I mean,
well, if they're going to breach a wall and they know they have a dangerous and aggravated element on the inside with lots of booby traps and stuff like that, instead of going through the door, they'll, like you were talking about today, they'll breach the wall, but they'll do it with the law rocket from a distance, so they don't have to approach and apply like either a water charge or a breaching charge or stuff like that.
You can numbers from a distance.
So the danger with that,
bring backblast area clear.
Right.
The danger with that is they make those bricks by using the local water, which is the water they also use the bathroom in. So sometimes those bricks get methane pockets. And if you happen to throw explosive incendiary things, sometimes they catch on fire and towns get burned and generals get a little upset.
Theoretically. JR, are you speaking from experience?
Well, I mean, you can't have a sniper in the building if you ain't got no building.
I've fired a law rocket in anger. I was angry about having to be at the range that day.
We did the AT4 at training and watched the dead tank implode for like the billionth time.
Oh
Man,
God!
the commies.
Speaking of communist whispers, what do you think's going on with Wilbur and his
Hebrew
whisper
hammer.
that?
Hearing things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that might be a hint to my future evolution, but we'll see.
Necromancer.
I don't know.
Possessed by the devil.
I agree with that.
Oh my God! So,
Where's the holy water?
oh my God! There's just.
From the witch.
Oh my God! It's craziness. The chat is going like crazy. But yeah, so there was a whole lot of whispers going on. You caught a hint of a voice at one point. Yeah, there could be some evolution. The ruin might be revealing.
That's the thing that I'm uncertain of what's going on, because in the one time when I heard the look down thing, that's not something that someone would have otherwise communicated to me from the bad guys. That's why I was kind of thinking. I was expecting to see our elf friend pop up, but evidently not. So
Right
or maybe that was the witch that we killed turning sides and trying to help us.
Yeah, right. I got a bridge for you, buddy.
Walt's already told us before.
James missed the whole part where she was helpful.
She was going to work with us.
Yeah,
she could have ended. You could have ended up having a powerful spellcaster working for you, but
James wanted to kill her. James wanted to kill her.
Don't think it
That's
was
why.
And the first mate.
That's why.
Yeah, really. I learned everything about combat from Prometheus on the first adventure, where the sleeping cleric had his head chopped off. Thank you very much.
That was Sergeant Balls.
Okay, first of all, they're all Prometheus.
That's true. Now you're onto it.
Yeah.
Everybody is Prometheus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, I'm just a little proactive. You're the guy throwing grenades into his friends.
Okay, no, I did not throw a grenade into my friends.
What do you?
I think everybody disagrees with that.
You realize if we didn't make our saves, you just killed us all.
Yeah, it's actually a miracle that we all made our saves.
So dodging that for a second, Nick, this one's probably for you. Sparky6868 saying, I'm curious how non-magical class types might start manifesting themselves as the nanovirus does its thing. You should see this little book called Forgotten Ruin that's out right now.
Yeah, exactly. So when he means non-magical class types, if someone's going to become a fighter, they're going to become a fighter. If someone's going to become a thief, that's probably a job requirement. I don't think that the ruin would make someone a fighter or a thief, but in sort of a Bronze Age world of survival, if you happen, to be somebody who's comfortable with violence, then that's probably how. Yeah, you're probably going to get more. But yeah, non-magical class, you have a guy who becomes a were-tiger. That kind of gets revealed. Psionics is non-magical, but it operates on a different kind of thing. That reveals there's a guy in the second book right now who's becoming a minotaur, and there's a guy who's becoming a ghoul. So, those things happen as the nanovirus begins to take over and change people. But then there's things that people are going to choose to do now that they find themselves. Oh, and there's a guy who's becoming a cleric. That's pretty interesting.
The ghoul will be interesting. We'll need that holy water if we come across any. Yeah.
The ghoul in Forgotten Ruin 2 is a guy who gets killed by someone who's in service to. I always mess this name up. A Tengu. What is that? Like a crow shaman.
Yeah.
And what he gets killed with is a toxin that kills him. but he's so intent on revenge that he basically comes back as a ghoul to get revenge on whoever killed him.
So it's like a latent ability that kicks off as soon as he passes.
Yeah, I think the nanovirus kind of like it has its criteria that it selects for, and when the nanovirus like would take place today, right now, and it would be looking at criterias about why it selects for things, and it's very complex. It's just like the algorithms that sell us all our stuff now. Every time they sell something, they learn something, and then they sell better, and so that's what the virus is doing. And the virus wants to create monsters. The virus wants to create more monsters than there are humans, which the state of Forgotten Ruin 10,000 years from now is that there are far more monsters than there are humans. There are far more monster civilizations than there are human civilizations.
So you can almost see an undead thing kind of happen when like the trigger for the virus is when the body temperature gets to like 75 degrees or something. And it's like, okay, at that point, well, by the way, you're dead. And yeah. And then you wake up.
Yeah, but like if you get into sort of organic computing, where people are like fooling around now with taking an atom and turning it into a computer, you could apply that same principle sort of in the macro, and you don't need like a heart anymore to keep a body alive. You basically turn every cell in the body to a form of computer that's just operating on a different power system now and powering a corpse-like body. Obviously, it's not optimal. And so what happens is that person begins to die, but they are moving around as an undead creature. So it kind of you can make that argument. That's how you get the undead in Forgotten Ruin.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I that scene in number 2 where it's like am I seeing this? Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be fun to explain. But I think the other thing too with Forgotten Ruin 2 is like, or with Forgotten Ruin in general is, there is the nanovirus. But as you kind of will find out later in the story, some interdimensional portals got opened up and actually let some actual real magic in. That's very dark and evil. And there's also this, I'm a big believer in the spirit world. So there are also forces of good and evil that transcend the sort of the things that are being accepted as magical. So, there actually is magic in Forgotten Ruin. It's real magic and not nano.
Right on. I'm putting spoiler tags up.
Yeah, why
just
not?
in case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rolling across the screen right now. But yeah, it's been a real fun ride to actually have these guys starting to change. Like in last game when JR started manifesting stuff, and the first thing that happened was he just floated a dead body. He touched it and it floated a foot off the ground. And then he started producing even more violent effects. The more things got tense, suddenly there was a magic missile that shoots across the room and splinters a door. But it was a neat thing. So I built a table for how the effects roll out. So based on the characters you guys send me. So like if you send me, like Michael sent me a character sheet. So he's starting to experience those effects. And then JR sent me a character sheet. He's experiencing those effects. So when you guys send me the characters that you'll eventually be playing the D&D side, you'll still have, of course, all your Air Force abilities like coffee divination, how to find it anywhere and everywhere.
Wait, that's not on my sheet. I feel cheated.
How to find a 5-star resort in the middle of a ruined apocalypse. That kind of deal. That stuff will still be there, but at the same time, you guys will have your your D&D classes that will kind of like a certain person in book 1 grabs an enchanted item and suddenly he's working it. So yeah, it's fun.
One of my Air Force abilities is summon recliner.
Well, so I was gonna say, does the Air Force have warrants? Do they have like CW
Yeah,
trees or whatever? Yeah.
They have warrant officers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So for mine, I just took a list of all the playable characters and I 6-sided dice and I rolled to pick that one. And then I did the same thing I knew I was going to do magic class because it's confusing, so I need to learn. But I just rolled dice and let the randomness tell me what it was going to be and sent that to you.
I think my character today became who he is going to become, which is Pirate Captain.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
digging that.
Is that really-
Yeah,
Buccaneer.
yeah. He'll be
It
that
seems-
way for a little while at least.
Do you say human?
Which by foreshadowing James. By what do you mean?
Well,
He
it's
showed
a
us what he means. Today.
it's a vicious, cruel world, and two percussion bullets in the back are deadly things.
to
I
the
think-
guy who saved you from drowning.
I think Benny is slowly becoming an ogre with this kind of mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, had me listed as a gnome illusionist, but I don't have to do it.
Gnomes are sort of cranky and homicidal. Right?
Yeah, they are.
Oh my God. That's
James,
awesome.
who invented for Dragon Magazine? Who invented the duelist class? Do you remember?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't. No,
Okay, all right. I thought I'd ask.
I
What
guess
about-
Roger Moore, but I'm not sure.
I want to ask you too about the monster. Is it Yuan Ti?
The Wanti,
The-
yeah, Gary read those out of a novel that talked about the creature in the Amazon.
Okay, so those aren't TSR copyrighted like Beholder is or anything.
Well, some of it is and some of it isn't. I don't think the Wanti is copyrighted though.
Right, and then they were also in Lost City or of the Underdwellers or something like that. They were in that module too. So I thought that was interesting because I'm using those in Forgotten Ruin 3 right now. I thought those were really interesting.
Yeah, they are
Interesting
fun.
creatures.
They're
okay.
fun, and they look so horrific. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I think your guy is becoming a barbarian, don't you think?
Well,
With the skulls and the heads and the
ears.
just general dislikability.
I
I can see that.
I don't care what I become. I'm just having fun.
Okay.
Sparky6868 is saying, I'm toying with the idea of a military dog handler, essentially turning into a ranger beastmaster. Think of a certain dog and his handler in a certain book.
But wouldn't it be cool too if you became a gnoll and you had a human slave? You became a human
That's
handler.
hilarious.
Yeah,
There was like
Knowles-
this, and there was this naked human just running around on all fours. But he was a
Knowles-
dog dressed in arms.
Gnolls are not nice. No, I wouldn't become a gnoll.
You're like a hunter class, but the pet's reversed. That's hilarious.
I'm chaotic all the time, but I'm never chaotic evil.
I
Are you
don't
sure
know,
about
I mean-
that? Are you sure about that?
With those war crimes, I'm kind of suspicious.
Yeah,
Okay,
like, literally-
not one. No way in the world am I doing war crimes. Just so you know.
Mutilating the corpses.
Not
Okay, they did it in Vietnam. Why can't I do it in this dimension?
Yes, it was a war crime in Vietnam.
They also fragged
Just
their
because they
officers.
Did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he fragged the officer.
Oh,
Wait
my
a
God.
minute, Nick.
Wait, what?
He's saying he's using Vietnam as his model. They
Nah.
fragged their officers then too.
Now, most evil alignment characters don't necessarily think of themselves as evil alignment characters.
No, they do in this game. Every evil guy knows he's an evil dude. Don't give me that grief about orcs being either neutral or nice, depending on how they feel.
So was
I'll
Benny
just tell you
trying?
something that I'll just tell you something. Like, yes, they used to frag officers in Vietnam, and then they started teaching us officers about a secret thing we could do, and we do it, and we just don't tell anybody about it.
Yeah, same for warrant officers.
They don't exist.
We do
Copy.
a secret thing too.
Maybe he was trying to frag you today. There, Rock Powers.
He
It's
wasn't even in the
impossible.
room.
I'm
Yeah,
white.
It's,
That's right. I
it's-
didn't even go down there.
I know. It's very hard to frag somebody who's never in a battle. Very hard.
I guess I would just ask you this, James. Like, when you rolled the grenade into the room,
Yeah.
what were you hoping to accomplish?
I wanted to kill all the characters that surrounded her as well as her.
You wanted to kill your own people?
No.
doesn't-
See, okay. Unfortunately for me, I have no knowledge of the military. So when I put together Metamorphosis Alpha and Gamma World, they all had 10 feet radius grenades. So if you were 11 feet away, you took no damage whatsoever. Well, clearly in this world, where Walt knows what he's talking about.
So we could just clarify for the audience and for the players, you weren't trying to kill anybody.
Oh yeah, I was trying to kill almost everybody.
But you weren't trying
That's
to kill
the
your own,
impression I got.
you weren't trying to kill your own people.
No, I love my daggers. You can ask any employee from TSR how Jim managed them, and they'll all say that I love them.
As he hid behind Booger.
Yeah, no. I only
not
hid
so
behind you
good.
doing the important thing.
The rolling of the grenade.
And I chop the heads off because I've seen hundreds of magical movies where you don't chop the head off, the thing regenerates and comes back to get you. Well, with the head off, they don't do that so much.
I will
Well,
say,
in the thing, the head turned into a giant spider and crawled away.
That was creepy.
Yeah, that was wonderful, wondrous.
And in answer to your earlier question, Nick, the Duelist was created by Arthur Collins.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's all I got.
We did a
So-
lot of good stuff in that magazine.
is Rock Powers going to stay human or become something else?
I think Rock Powers is just going to try not to reveal to everybody that he's actually Prometheus.
Uh-huh. and you know, I think soon he's going to become little pieces of red meat on the deck.
Well, he did say there was a 100% chance of pirating.
There's 100% chance. I don't know. I mean, so far I've proved pretty wily.
Yeah. Okay. Great. The
I think he's
sergeant-
gonna be. I think he's gonna become Faye, just out of the blue.
Oh, they're
who's
fun.
Who's that? Rock Powers?
Yeah, just so opposite his character.
Faye, what? That's elves, right? Or is that?
No,
fairies.
they're their own race. Yeah, pixies and nixies and sliffs, all those good things.
Okay, so Tinkerbell, basically. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, except he'd be a tall one.
I
Running
think I
from
have those in
crocodiles.
San Francisco.
that's what I'm thinking.
See, I'd always imagined, I guess, like the face man type person turning into a bard or something. So, yeah.
Sure, that's fun. Yeah, he was singing
Bart-
today.
Bards are probably.
I hope
like
someone
the
clipped that.
Bards are probably like the greatest character class ever, right? James?
Oh my God, they're known as the worst class ever.
Why?
They say their powers are stupid, and then what they can do is stupid. They just go on and on and on forever.
You seem very jealous.
No, not of bards. Maybe of higher ranked officers, but not bards.
And so did Gary really hate magic users?
Gary hated magic users. I was one of the few in his game, and I got to the highest level of all the magic users in his game. I'm very proud of that. But yeah, he didn't like him at all because he said, if they survive past level 3, then they're tossing spells that like kill a zillion people. Look at Word now. Oh my goodness, he usually killed half of the enemies that you guys faced.
Yeah, it was crazy. Nick, Sanokin wants to know if a bag of holding could be an isolation hood.
Interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I think we can rendition James.
I don't think so.
The chat, James said, "This is your court martial."
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think I have to have 3 officers that aren't in the middle of a battle to be court-martialed.
I'd be happy to prosecute.
Yeah.
This is for Sergeant Balls.
And infield promotion of a enlisted man to an officer is not a problem.
Sparky6868 saying, I got promoted to DM for our group's Brewing Forgotten Ruin game. I'm taking notes. You guys should pray for me.
Yeah, James. Just so you know, like I'm pretty sure there are at least 3 people in this group that have been busted from NCO down to private.
Oh yeah, that makes it so much easier for me, who's never been busted ever.
What I'm trying to say is like that makes you a real sergeant when you've been promoted.
I see. Great. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like 3 strikes, you're out. The 3rd strike, you get to keep it.
Yeah.
So, like, the
exactly.
3rd time you make corporal, you're really a corporal.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That's why everybody should have like known how it was going to go when they started putting your rank on in Velcro.
Yeah.
There's a World War II movie about that where they would promote him and then they'd keep taking it off. They called him the Velcro Sergeant. It's a bomber movie.
Was there Velcro in World War II?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Hook and loop fasteners, yeah.
Wow. I thought Velcro was like a new invention.
No, they used them on the parachutes.
Oh, see.
Yeah, we had a guy when I first got back in, and all the ranks were Velcroed. I'm like, what the hell is this sorcery? And they were like, oh, all the ranks now are Velcroed on, and I'm like, and then this kid turns to me and he opens up the flap on his shoulder pocket, and he's got the next rank. He was a specialist. He had his sergeant like underneath there. So I'm like, what's that for? He goes, oh, you in hopes of getting promoted, you put the next rank you want under the sleeve so that when you're ready, you can just pull that off and put it on there.
That seems like bad luck.
What's that?
That seems like bad luck to me.
I was like,
really.
He's like, you ever do something like that? I said, no, I tackled fuckers out of windows and lost rank all the time.
Aha, there we go.
So hook and loop fasteners are a 50s plus time frame invention.
Yeah, I was going to just say that. I just Googled it. I was wrong. The movie was wrong. Who knew? Hollywood doesn't get it right.
You mean
So,
hook
wait,
and
is
loop?
Velcro mean hook and loop?
Yeah.
Velcro is the brand name for hook and loop.
All right.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, how do they, like, when you get your jump wings and then your CO pounds them into your chest, how do they do it now with Velcro? Like, seems like you're just basically getting
metal
felt
post.
up by your commander.
Just a tickle pile, you know.
Yeah. Believe me, in 1990, this hurt a lot more. Pow.
It was funny because we had the Sergeant Airborne walk around, and he was like, "Come here, all of you, get over here." And he goes, "Do you know how they used to put on airborne wings for the first time to people?" And we were like, we had heard about it, so we were like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, if you would like an instructional class on how that actually went, meet me here in 20 minutes." So, like, we all dispersed and did whatever. And, we show up in this back room, like this unused bunk room. And he's like, all right, so PFC, and I won't say her name on air because, real person. She was the shortest person in our airborne class. She was going to the 82nd.
Is this the one that died?
No. This is a different one. She was the shortest person in our class.
Okay.
But she, what do you call it? She was an airborne illustrator. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you ever see the technical manuals? I'm the illustrator. I'm going to be an illustrator for that.
Like, they make those. Okay.
Okay. Well, why would you need to be airborne? She's like, I don't know, but I got it in my contract. So they put her up against the bed frame, and the guy takes the frogs off the pins of the airborne wings, and he pulls his hand back and he kind of like puts it up to her the upper part of her chest, does it again, and then he reaches all the way back. And you remember those circus mallets they used to pound 10 stakes with in the Army?
Yeah.
He grabs that thing, winds up, and blasts her in the chest with that circus mallet, putting those wings in. I was like, that's awesome.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we all took it. It was, oh, man, that was awesome.
They did that for your stripes, too.
Yeah. Except back then we had them in our collars instead of on our chest. So all the NCOs would line up and they would pound them right into your collarbone hard as they can. Oh, that was
in my unit. They did it for everything, including Tuesday.
You were so blitzed you didn't feel it.
They're like, fuck you. You're like, thanks for nothing.
Oh, that's awesome.
This will just bleed all 4 years. It was almost healed up. You promoted? Not really.
So is there going to be any promotions at Ranger Alamo?
Oh, you mean in Forgotten Ruin 2?
Forgotten Ruin, yeah.
I think I'm going to demote somebody for book 2. Like, I'm just going to go in the opposite direction, and someone's going to end up. I think Talker's going to end up like a Private Elon at the end of Forgotten Ruin 2.
Awesome.
When really he should be made like a warrant officer and just do languages and intel. But I think it's more fun to have the main character just keep going down in rank. Yeah, because it's the opposite of the hero's journey. Like Patrick Rothfuss. Like then I became the master thief, and then I became the master spellcaster, and then I became the master bard, and everybody loved me. And like the way that I prefer to do it is like, and then I got demoted and had to do extra duty. Like it's kind of the Max Payne version of. Did you ever play the video game Max Payne?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like at the end of after he did, saves the world and stops, what was it, Fenris? Like, because they got into all the Norse mythology, and he basically saves New York City. Like he gets shoved in, he gets arrested and shoved into the back of a squad car, and his last line is like, "And I'm okay with that." I'm like, I like that kind of like loser storytelling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't say anything.
Sanokin, you've been demoted to civilian. Congrats, Talker.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's one of the hard parts. Like just really touching in on that real quick, because the Ranger Battalion is in the Ranger Regiment is all about earning your space and everything like that. Well, in Forgotten Ruin, like everybody's there. Like, what are you gonna do? Kick them out? So like I have to come up with some kind of thing to deal with that, and then already one of the guys has already like basically said like, hey, I'm 9,996 years ETS. I want to go do my own thing. Yeah. So like I'm gonna have to kind of deal with some of those things, and like, do you demote people and do you promote people? I don't know. As people get killed, like I should promote them. Actually, I just wrote a scene where the other weapons team leader got killed, and so they take the specialist on the gun team and they make him the other weapons team leader. But he got a promotion.
Awesome.
Because someone died, which is why you should get promotions. Not just because you stood around long enough, but
Sanokin is saying demoted to firing squad? Let's hope not. But yeah, there's so much cool stuff in Forgotten Ruin. How do you think so far as Forgotten Ruin and the game goes, how do you think the modern military aspect against this kind of like Bronze Age of like tooth and talon, myth and magic has been going?
I'm just waiting for the other.
I think it's a lot more fun, like to shoot stuff with guns, like we did today. Then and then you can go to the sword if you want to or whatever. But that is kind of the fun of Forgotten Ruin, is like basically pitting modern military versus sort of Bronze Age monsters, and then the way that you balance it is you give the Bronze Age monsters the numbers.
Yeah, so I started thinking about like for instance, we in today's modern world, we've got the military with its ranks and everything else, and to some extent, that's kind of an artificial thing, in as much as a general is not a better fighter than like a private. It's not about that. It's not a true meritocracy in the fighting world. But there's other aspects to it. But I'm kind of wondering, like in the Forgotten Ruin world, when you start mixing the what is, some might argue, an artificial hierarchy with one that shows, okay, you got a badass spellcaster that can like blow away like an entire company or something. Maybe the rank doesn't matter as much anymore.
No, that's totally screwed. The rank matters for everything. I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Fight me. No, you're right. Like, I mean, and I think that's something that our society is about to face as authority breaks down, and people are becoming disillusioned with someone just saying, "Hey, I'm in charge and I told you so." Like that's falling apart, and many people have theorized now we are moving towards a strongman society, and even on the local and neighborhood level, where it's very possible that within your lifetime there are going to be a group of dudes in your neighborhood that tell you exactly what to do and you do it. because they've got all the guns and power.
Keegan.
I've said that about Maui. Is like I'm not really worried about things going to shit because like in the mainland there will be a lot of like rioting and stuff will be crap, but here you can't go anywhere. So what it's gonna be is like, but the reason I'm not worried is because whatever faction is in charge of the island, that's what everyone will just become. So like, if it's everyone who's like goes to like farming and just is nice and rural, and then it'll be that. If it's everyone looting and stealing and it becomes this like gang of thieves, everyone will just become part of that. It won't be like on the mainland you'll see factions of people, but here it'll just be whatever keeps people fed.
So here's I'm going to tell you something about why you should get on an airplane immediately and leave Hawaii, and why everything you think is like here. I'm going to turn it all on your head for you. I went through officer candidate school with a Tongan. So you've met Samoans, right? Like they're big guys, right? Tongans dominate them. Tongans are easy. Like Tongans sometimes get upwards generally of 8 feet. And this guy, he was 6, maybe 6'7", 6'8", and he said, "I'm the baby of my family."
That's what I'm talking about, though. Those are going to be the guys that are running things.
Right. I'm still not there yet. Samoans were frightened of this guy. So you're in the Hawaiian island chains. Next, we get to Samoa, and then we get to Tonga. All of these places had cannibalism. As far as 100 years ago, the Tongans were still eating the Samoans. So in Hawaii, you're gonna have calorie problems faster than anybody, and cannibalism is a recent memory.
They also didn't have livestock, which they do now.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't.
People are man. They're gonna eat that stuff up, and then they're gonna start.
No, I get what you're saying.
They're gonna look at you,
like. The islands didn't have animals like. That's a modern thing. Now we do have wild animals because they've just gotten loose. So it's not going to be as big of an issue to have like protein and stuff like that. The resources aren't as strange.
But I guess the point
until you eat all of those.
Yeah, but I guess the point is that you may not have factions inside the island, but you've got different islands, which each of them are their own faction.
That's true. That'll happen. But I mean. That's kind of Hawaiian history, the whole uniting of the islands.
I'm just saying these people's great-grandparents ate people. That's an option for them. Like here in Orange County, we would have to cut through all the sushi and all the avocados and all the sprouts. And
because I've seen both.
Tacos and dog tacos and Korean dog tacos before we're like, I'm hungry enough to eat that dude.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I've seen that, but then I also have like my buddy's daughter is just this little Samoan girl, but she's a warrior. You know what I mean? It's just like it's in her genes to just like crush people. So I definitely. When civility goes out the window, it's the Hawaiians, the native Hawaiians who are going to be like in charge of stuff.
And you guys do realize that we're seeing more and more of Michael's sword as we play these games.
That's okay. I've got axes on the wall waiting.
I noticed. Yeah. I'm beginning to become a little concerned about my friend.
Yeah. So are you asking for a health and welfare check?
No.
I want to see him chop something up, though, with that sword.
Wouldn't be hard.
You know, I mean, you don't have to go after the computer or the chair or anything like that. Maybe cut some chicken or.
Oh, actually, this would easily do chicken and stuff. It's otherwise a wall hanger, but it's like,
I'm pretty excited because I want like a mace in real life.
Uh-huh.
They're kind of hard to find.
They're all over the place, buddy.
I want a
can-
real mace. I want a real mace.
Yeah. You can go on the internet and hit 5 or 6 different places that'll get you
Sure,
amazing
right.
maces.
I know all these Ren Fair maces and everything like that. Except now there is a gym fitness workout base that works perfectly.
Oh, really?
And it's like because it's a new thing, like because people like to take sledgehammers and hit tires for a workout. Well, now they have maces that you can do it. So you can go on Amazon and they have a really sharp mace, 15-pound mace for like $56.
Awesome.
And like maces are my jam.
That's the most Orange County thing I've ever heard.
I know.
Maces to do workouts. It's like I don't know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
new school Tybo or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, like it's like well, once the gyms closed, and it was even coming before that, but everybody got into prison workouts. But the main thing now is you get a big sort of like industrial grade truck tire and throw that down, and your workout is just slamming into it with a sledgehammer or a mace.
Hell yeah. You got the military units doing stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see the little retail store in a strip mall that sells that stuff.
Yeah, can you imagine in medieval times getting hit by one of those things with the little bone busters on the end of the mace? That had to have been so brutal.
Well, it's like when they figured out like the two-handed sword that a lot of knights didn't even sharpen it because that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was just to ride through a battle and basically tap people on that, downstroke people and say you're done. Because like if you hit somebody with a chunk of steel from horseback, I mean, you basically shattered their arm and collarbone,
right,
or crushed their skull. You didn't even need to sharpen the sword. In fact, it was counterproductive.
Yep.
On the kind of Forgotten Ruin thing with the military aspect for D&D, I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of fun because it's so different. But I also like to be playing a guy who's like in a magical realm who's just completely fish out of water with magic and stuff. Because you don't get to play in a normal D&D thing. You don't get to play a guy who's just like kind of oblivious to what's going on.
Right.
So,
well, I think that's the attraction, is ultimately the idea that you're not playing a game, you're playing real life, and you're encountering this bizarro stuff going, what do I do now with this, person who just turned into a mummy in front of me or something? Yeah, it's like, okay.
And how do you rationalize? Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, how do you rationalize undead when you see it for the first time?
Yeah, right.
I think
Tuesday
like that's
went bad.
I think that's like the kind of thing, like the assumption of magic kind of sometimes kills it, and so like it is more fun like when magic is kind of rare, but then you have a sort of a Conan game it's way more combat heavy. When the magic comes out, it could be much more deadly. But like it's interesting, isn't like what James was saying right there? A fish out of water in a magic world. Like that's basically a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is Rick Wayne in the 1860s.
No, if you think about it, it's actually kind of cool for the uninitiated because D&D is for gamers traditionally. It's people who are in that mindset.
I always thought D&D was for lovers.
Yeah, well, that too, but
I don't think so.
But if you've got like folks who are more into the mundane, the classical warfare stuff, and suddenly you're kind of baby stepping them into this kind of weird gaming world that they wouldn't normally gravitate to, but as you baby step, it's kind of like boiling, boiling a frog by just slowly turning the heat up. Yeah, so suddenly,
I think that's how it happened when they were playing Chainmail. They were playing a miniatures game. And suddenly someone kind of introduced that concept, and then they began to explore and expand on that.
Yeah, and suddenly they become a realistic war gamer, and suddenly they're a gamer. I'm like, whoa, how did that happen?
Yeah.
I also like that it kind of puts modern weaponry on an even footing with magic, because normally a lot of this stuff you'd get like a magic's the top thing. But with with guys who are used to bows and arrows, of course magic dominates that. But when they're dealing with high-powered assault rifles, it's a very different dynamic.
Do I want
So
a
let's
magic
take like a
missile or
vampire. Let's take like a vampire, for instance. If you use an explosive on a vampire and he turns to mist or whatever, like technically the explosive should destroy the vampire even in mist form.
Why do you say that?
Well, because he's a gas, and a gas would be burned up by the flames.
Not necessarily. Gases disperse, don't they?
Gas is dispersed, but if you have suddenly an explosion and fire, that's going to consume those consume oxygen and gases, so the vampire would be consumed.
Well, it was never consumed in our games. He always just blew away to a crevice and came back later.
I guess it depends
Well,
on
I know,
the
but
type of grenade.
you guys weren't using an AT4. You weren't using like Carl Gustav or something to create an explosion. So
we did some of that. Stormcashoots and Sorcery in the Dragon magazine did exactly that.
Yeah. Well, then you got it wrong.
Whoa!
I don't think so, buddy. But yeah, it was a bunch of American troopers against a bunch of medieval fantasy guys.
I'll put it this way: if you've got corporeal particles inside of a thermite grenade blast, those particles aren't going to be happy.
There you go, Michael, trying to put your science into the game.
Yeah. Well, that happens. Yeah.
But there's really no such thing as a thermite grenade blast.
Yeah. Well, you have a very high temperature globe suddenly engulfing the mist. So
right. But what would happen?
Yeah.
What would happen if you naped a ghost? Would you if you use napalm on a ghost?
Okay, you can't because it's in another dimension.
right. So yeah. So I think Benny's argument, James's argument, is about the dimensionality. So things aren't on our plane anymore, so you can't touch them. So is the mist form of the vampire even in our world?
Yes, it is. It doesn't go to another. Oh, go ahead, JR.
There's a comment in the chat from Mr. BC Walker who says vampirism is traditionally a curse, so it flips the bird to naturalism and operates on its own terms. It's his take. I thought it was interesting, so I share.
It used to be a curse until those stupid vampire books came out, and now they're gorgeous looking and able to seduce 8th graders.
Don't forget they sparkle.
They sparkle. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I was going to say the Anne Rice books did a good job on some of those.
Yeah, I don't
vampires.
think the gas doesn't go to another dimension like the ghost astral form.
All right.
Well, what about sunlight kills vampires?
What about it?
I thought that was always bunk. So yeah, but other than there is a real life disease where people who get exposed to sunlight can suddenly like their skin falls apart.
Porphyria.
Which is a real disease. So to me, I'd always imagined that to be the origin of some of the that myth. But yeah,
sure. Well, vampirism is a disease too. The lust for blood. That's a disease as well.
Hell yeah! So when you guys hit the boat and started climbing on, you had 2 groups. You had that group that was firing on you, and you had the group that was working the boat. Were you immediately suspicious of both groups, or did you know that one group was just there to crew?
I expected to kill them all.
I saw a boat that I wanted.
I'm still wondering how the heck I climbed up the thing with one hand.
Oh, that's not a problem. There's little steps in the side of the boat.
I've seen sailboats. You still need 2 hands to jimmy up those things.
Well, if the rope had knots in it or whatever, you could use your feet to anchor yourself, and pull up.
Yep, you could.
But I didn't hear anything about knots. But just imagine that there were.
Nick became a vampire and disappeared.
He poofed.
Yeah,
That's
he
right,
went.
buddy.
I
You
wanted
went
to
to
hear
the-
Nick's comments on the boat too, because he seemed pretty charged for getting a boat too.
Yeah.
I do think we should restock on the napalm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a ton of barrels of that stuff in that room.
That would make a very good way of taking care of the rest of the castle or the fortress.
And the rest of the cast. Period.
Yeah. Well, delayed charge or something. You know, it's like,
Right on.
So yeah, I guess in that upper area where the dining hall was, there's a way south that we never explored. So if I recall correctly,
Yeah.
So that's the remaining half that I guess well you'd referred to that we hadn't taken care of or cleared.
Yeah,
So-
there was. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask Espinoza, the mighty CJ Carilla, what he was thinking his character was going to become, if he had any ideas yet.
I already got his character.
Yeah, I created a character and sent it to Walt.
Are you going to give us spoilers? You're going to make us all wait.
It's kind of a boring concept, actually. But,
He's going to be a matador.
There we go.
He's going to be turning into something more like Conan.
Nice.
Right on.
Barbarian.
Yeah, I figure I picked one of the overpowered classes in what was it, an Earth Arcana or
Yeah.
yeah. I remember reading that book way back, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is game breaking."
Yeah, the I don't think I got your gnome yet, James.
I'll give it to you tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah, so I got CJ's character, I got Mike's character, I got Nick's character concept, but I haven't got the character yet.
What about J.E. Mack, Mr. Crowley himself?
We don't know what he's going to become yet. He hasn't.
I'm fine putting it off for as long as possible, especially with like how this character's going, where he just happens to not see anything. Like the frag grenade knocking him on his ass when the witch does like magic. I thought that was really funny. Like
The
He's going to become a mage, isn't he?
I actually think what someone was asking about the non-magic classes, and I actually think Crowley would do well in like the thief, warrior, fighter realm of kind of the D&D stuff. Like he doesn't have to actually become a magic user, but maybe just more of a monster fighter.
Other than barbarian, are there any other like anti-magic classes that just hate it?
Well, dwarves are very anti-magical.
mm-hmm.
There
Yeah,
you
because
go.
dwarves can't be wizards. And then you got from, if you look at second edition AD&D, they had a bunch of character class kits. And of course, Dragon Magazine always did a great job of creating just straight up classes where you had things like the Witch Hunter, the Blood Hunter, stuff like that, where these people were blatantly just like not magical. But I like J Mac's take on Crowley and the fact that he doesn't believe in it. There was this game in the 90s by Palladium Books called Against the Supernatural.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, right. So, and that particular game had a character class called the Nega Psychic,
Yep.
and this person was so like blatantly like, no, it was made in Hollywood. No, that didn't
Swamp
happen.
gas.
It was swamp gas, right? That when somebody tried to direct a psychic or magical effect at them, it failed because the person's disbelief was so strong, it just canceled out the magical energy.
That seems great for a really grunty, just super grunty guy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun thing because they were actually such powerful psychics that they would negate our psychic powers.
Yeah, I always thought that was neat. It was like, nope. But you must jump from the cliff. I'm gonna jump one off in your ass. You keep pointing your fingers at me like that.
Really? Yeah.
He's such a crusty dwarven, like master sergeant or whatever, who's got like an anti-magic shell around him. Yeah.
Right.
That'd be handy.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Psionics just didn't work. Even Gary hated them.
Yeah. I mean,
So who invented psionics?
Gary started it, but they never play tested it. Gary never really play tested anything because everybody wanted his stuff so quick. So it didn't get play tested, and it was definitely gigantically flawed. And even in second edition, when we came out with the whole psionic book, everybody complained about it. We got more letters about psionics than we did about anything else.
Right on. Yeah, there were some classes that went about it differently, like much later on, with the whole OSR movement and a lot of the white box stuff. You had guys like James Michael Spahn, who through his imprint Barrow Rider games came out with some fun psychic stuff, especially for his like Star Wars with the serial numbers filed off game called White Star. You could easily do psionics in that, and there were a couple of supplements released, and they were fantastic. They really took psionics in a way that felt different from magic, but at the same time gave it the ability to do its own thing, like a divine spellcaster versus an arcane spellcaster and stuff like that. That was
sure.
So just fill the dungeon with mind flayers. You're good.
Oh, those things. Oh, God.
There's lots of ugly things like that can affect psychics.
Yeah, Sparky 6868 saying, I picked up some of the psionic supplements for White Star. It looks pretty interesting. Yeah, they're really good. The Psychic, and then the Psychic 2, Psychic Warrior, those were really good for that system. If you look at... oh my God, I'm going to get my White Star card taken away. Forgot the name of the book. I'll remember it, but there was a series of like magazines that kind of acted as like updates for the game. They tackled psionics. So yeah, there was a couple of things that came out like that made psionics not only fun and interesting, but also gave it mechanics that made it work well and not just seem like magic with like psionic points added in.
Yeah, there we go.
So, but yeah, that was always the problem with psionics. In other games, it worked well, but like, yeah, D&D always had a tainted past with it.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, so now we have you guys have a boat. It looks like you're going to be sailing south. But yeah.
So are we skipping the finish off what the Rangers had asked us to do, which is the review the second half of that fortress, or
that's up to you. I mean, if you guys want to go in there and tear it up, you go tear it up.
I say we finish the mission and keep
like
our allies.
Yeah, you guys have all this left,
right,
to go through,
and maybe we can get resupplied from the Rangers with more bullets.
That's right.
Before we go a pirate in.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, because they restocked you guys last time. Med kits and rations and more rounds and stuff like that, especially against Dawson the werewolf.
Need more of those red potion, red vials.
If I had swallowed the red potion instead of saving the dagger, would it have fixed my arm?
Possibly.
Is that something you would have rolled for?
Nope.
No.
But yeah, so
I'm telling you, drink the yellow potion, buddy. You'll never be sorry.
Never drink the yellow potion.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the yellow snow prom.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. Because you don't know if that's a yellow snow cone or is that going to be some level of weird you really don't want to contemplate.
They call it a potion.
What if you guys go back to the fortress and clear that out, because you guys still have that laptop as well. You could try and contact the Rangers from where you are, because they had that huge secure bunker underneath their like Ranger Alamo kind of deal. Sparky6868 saying Benny should take the boat up the waterway and go full Colonel Kurtz, establish himself as a warlord. He's, of course, referring to one of the characters in Forgotten Ruin,
There we go.
Sergeant Kurtz, who's just a beast. But yeah, so so you could always contact the Rangers and have them try and resupply. Of course, a couple of episodes ago, you guys were exfilled by air through a freaking portal. Crew chief cracked open a portal in the middle of the air, and then you flew out because there's no way those little birds would be able to fly from where you were to or where they were at the Broken Teeth to the fortress where you guys were, and then back again, because they only got something like an hour of flight time. There's no, if you've ever seen those things, there's just no place to store any fuel on those. But yeah, you guys see those little birds? Basically a bubble with a tail helicopter.
Yep.
Aren't they going to be made solar really right away? Because everything in the military is going to become solar.
I don't think you'd have the juice for flying those things around, especially with as fast as they go and as much ammo as they try and shove in there for those for the Vulcan that they usually put on the side of those things.
I guess you just can't use it until it's fixed.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody will figure out a way. Somebody like Mattis will come up and be like, "Let me show you my knife hand."
Yeah, really. Some brave Democrat who knows his stuff.
Okay.
No, the what do you call it? Captain Kilgosha is saying 3-masted schooner, though Walt hasn't given a type of ship. I don't know. Is Hawaii blowing up? Are they having a
tsunami alert?
That's
it's just a flash flood warning.
Oh, there you go.
It's been
Just a
raining
flash
all day.
flood warning.
Well, it's pretty normal.
right on. So you guys are going back to the fort next week. Finish clearing that out, and then I guess pirating is going to be a thing. What do you think? One of the things you did right today?
I almost killed the second lieutenant. That was pretty right.
How about it, Wilbur?
Well, I mean, I think fine. Figuring out. So I think Benny definitely helped out with the getting into that trapped room. So going ahead and finding some napalm, and I think we'll put that to some good use in the future. So that was in the beginning, but I think that was probably one of the better things we did. So
thank you very much. You can thank my father for that.
Whoa! You mocked me for checking what was in the crate, and it turned out to be that napalm you used to burn everything.
That's true.
How about it, JR? Something that went right today.
I think we all did a good job playing the character we played as opposed to ourselves. So like I think the actual role playing part of it we did pretty good. Because it's weird not playing the guy that just goes in there and tanks for me. like try to do the one-armed pirate thing, I guess.
I'm still trying to figure out how you fix the stovepipe.
That's
but
funny.
Yeah, I have no clue. I guess I held the pistol with my teeth, and then I don't know,
between your legs or whatever. And
yeah.
Oh, you've never done a what do you call it? A boot decock?
No. Oh, I didn't mess with pistols, so.
Oh, gotcha.
I did one familiarization, and the range instructor said that if it came to it, I'd be better off throwing the pistol itself at the enemy than trying to shoot them.
Whoa!
He said, "Go back to your rifle where you actually know what the hell you're doing, Sarge."
Yeah.
Wow.
CJ, what about it? Something that went right?
Nobody died.
Nope. It's true, except a lot of the bad guys.
A victory.
It was close.
that wasn't as much skill as luck. So yeah.
Right. Luck of the dice doing it for us. What could we improve?
No grenades in close quarters. That would be one thing.
All right. How about it, J Mac?
That's honestly the frag grenade that, that nearly killed us all. That's the only really big problem I have.
How about it, Benny? James, go ahead.
I'd like to see a tad more magic.
Right on.
So maybe some devices, maybe some scrolls.
They have the 3 guys that got to go into the Dwarven City.
Mm-hmm.
They have magical weapons. But that's really the only magical items they've seen, other than those potions.
Yeah, but we were mostly at not in melee range for a lot of the encounters. So never. Or well, I guess it did come into play a couple times, but
Right.
I guess for me, I need to go figure out how to stay away from range of fireballs.
One thing my character is curious about is these rangers have been around for a long time, and why haven't they introduced black powder?
Right. Yep.
And cannons. I mean, you could easily. You have iron. You have the components aren't particularly secret or hard to make. So.
Oh, you need some bat guano and a couple of other ingredients, and you're good to go.
Saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal.
That's something you should definitely ask the Rangers, and it might be something that they're keeping to themselves. So that they don't destabilize a region or introduce like the introduction of firearms into Japan by the Portuguese. For a while, that destabilized the region like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Or getting the Native Americans introduced to horses and and guns and stuff. Yeah, that was a problem. Yeah.
So Nick is sending us a note that his phone died. But yeah, so all right, definitely some stuff to work on. We'll throw some what do you call it? Definitely throw some more magic in there. There was going to be a bit more magic, but you guys shot the crap out of her.
I see.
Yeah. We off the asset. Yeah.
She was highly magical and could have done some craziness.
But she wasn't bulletproof.
She was not bulletproof. JR, did we get to you for something that? Did the dog eat him?
No, I had to let him out back, so my headphones only have so far of a range. So I took them off real quick. So what was the question?
What would you like to see? What could we improve?
I think we need to take some time and less running into one frenetic action scene after another to actually learn, get the healing, learn how to do the things that are going to let us survive. Because I imagine the Rangers could probably teach us a thing or two about swordcraft as well, or just surviving in the ruin.
Right.
But I think Nick would say that the crowd wants a ton of action.
True, and I don't know how you balance that, but
we did it pretty. Sparky drops crates of Winchester lever guns to the orcs.
Oh man!
And you know something? I am going to have to now call Mad Pig Custom that enhance my lever action gun and get an orc skull on the side of my stock.
Love that idea.
Oh yeah, but yeah, we did the introduction to the Dwarven City, and that was a slow burn. So we had to. There was some balancing that had to go on after that, so that you have a couple of episodes where things are popping off, and then a couple of episodes that slow down and give you more world flavor, so that it's not always the same thing, right? But you were out for a couple of sessions, so you didn't actually see that yet. So
that's true.
Yeah, but all right, well, I'm going to sheathe the swords, douse the torches, and close the laptop because you guys found one, and we'll catch you next time on When Sci-Fi Writers Are Playing Old School D&D.